Hello and welcome to the Direct Selling Success Podcast. I'm Anna Green and I'm here to share with you tips, tricks, and training on network marketing done right. Thank you for listening. Oh, hello to this edition of the podcast. I would like to welcome Janine here today. So, Janine, would you like to introduce yourself today?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Anna. So my name is Janine Friston and I run the Female Business Network. So I'm really pleased and excited to be here. I'm so, proud that you've asked me to come in. I help mainly women in business to feel more confident in networking and understanding how they can network the right way to succeed in business. That's what I'm all about.
Oh, brilliant! So, what started your business then? What made you start the FBN?
So I started my first business back in 2018, actually. So I started my business, like many of your listeners, I expect, Anna, to work around family a little bit more, to have better flexibility. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted my business to be at that point, but I knew I wanted to do something and decided I was going to give self-employment a go. My first business, I started hosting women in business networking events because um I'd been in corporate world for however long before then, and I didn't actually have anyone in my circle that had actually started a business before. I had no one in my world that knew what it's like to be self-employed. I didn't know anyone locally to me who was running their own business. So I thought, oh, I know, I'll start my own. So I started a Facebook group. I'd gone through a bit of a course around starting a business. There was a few people that I'd just met. So I started a Facebook group. And then naturally, people locally to me where I am started joining the Facebook group and we started chatting and getting to know each other. And then they wanted to meet in real life. So I started hosting networking meetings. Had no idea what a networking meeting should look like. Um, I just knew that I'd attended some from being a business owner and didn't like the ones that I attended. And so I definitely didn't want any events that I was putting on to be like that. And I just started hosting events that way. And then in 2021, October, I thought, well, I want to help more people to get out there and think about networking. And I want to be able to get to know more people myself and network for me as well. And started the Female Business Network. And it's just continued naturally and organically from there, really.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So, what have you seen within your network then? What sort of impact have you had?
I think it's mainly around people understanding that networking, it's not a scary thing. It doesn't need to be scary. It doesn't need to be pushy. It doesn't need to be salesy. And I think for me, I always talk about that's the last thing that you should talk about in networking, really, is about selling yourself and selling
Mm.
your products and services. Whether or not that's your networking online. I host online events as well as in-person events, and both are exactly the same. The biggest shift that I think people have is about building that community and building that audience naturally through getting to know you and building those relationships. That's the
Yeah.
most important thing. And I think that's the biggest shift that people are coming around to seeing now, is that it is about conversation and building relationships.
Yeah. And that is why I wanted to get you on this podcast because I am a massive advocate for networking. I think business networking can give you so many opportunities, whatever business you're in. And when it's done right, in the right way that aligns with you and how you like to run your business, magic happens. It really does. And I just kind of want to get across to my audience how you can network and how to do it so that you get the most out of it, really.
Yeah.
So what is it you love most about business networking?
This is a topic I could go on about forever. But that's the most important thing, is that you in business, no matter what business you're in, you have to do something you're passionate about. And I'm super
Yes.
passionate about helping people to network the right way. So what I love about networking is connecting with people and having those great conversations. So networking shouldn't just be about turning up, talking about your business and then going away and not doing anything. It's about building those real good connections. It's about
Yeah.
having those conversations. And I think for me, there's nothing, people talk about you need to be on social media or you need to have an email list, you need to have a website. Actually,
Mm.
growing your audience, you grow your audience so much more through networking. Because if you attend an event, maybe with 5 or 6 people in, maybe with 20 people in, how many people do they all know?
Mm.
You're not just talking to those 5 or those 10 or those 20 people that are on the call or at the meeting with you. You're sharing your advice, your help, your support, you're having those conversations, you're building those relationships with all of their connections as well, because they're going to remember you more. I
Mm.
think for me, you sometimes with the social media algorithms, for instance, I might see a post about something. I think, oh, that's really cool. I'll come back to that later. And then trying to find that post, trying to
Nope.
remember who it was that actually, created that post. Sometimes you just see the image and the words. You don't take note of who that person was who said it. So you try and go back, you scroll through Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, whichever one it is, trying to find that. But actually, for me, when you attend a networking event, by having those conversations, I'm much more likely to remember who it was.
Mm.
I hosted an event down in Exeter last week, and I'd never met the majority of those people before, but I can remember everyone in that room, what they look like, what their business is, how they help people. If I'd gone online and just looked at 15 random, social media accounts potentially, I probably wouldn't remember that. But because
No.
we'd had conversations, because we'd had those, into that interaction, I can remember it much easier. And that's what I love about it. It's also great fun.
Yeah.
I love networking because, as a solopreneur, we might be working on our own or we might be working from home. We might not get out and about and meet people, um, very often. As I said, I didn't know anyone that was in business when I started my first
Mm.
business back in 2018. And actually having somewhat, a group of people, a community of people that you get to know, you can have some great fun with. My events can, I'm always saying to the host, where I host my local events here in South Manchester, let me know if we're too loud. Because we laugh, we talk, we share. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great fun. It's not all about business, is it? And I know networking isn't about business, it's about sharing, having something in common, having
Yeah.
something, a reason why you all get to know each other and having a bit of fun
Yeah.
away from the business.
I think finding that group of people that I hate the phrase that are like your tribe, those
Mhm.
people who are they get you, they've got the same goals and the same drive as you, and that they want to succeed in business and they want to build relationships. I think those types of networking groups, those types of communities, whether they're on and off or offline, are so valuable as part of your personal development,
Mhm.
your success, your community, your connections. And I think a lot of business owners don't experience that, and I think they should
Yeah,
definitely.
no, exactly. I know in my groups, for instance, there are loads of people that just don't ever attend networking.
Mm.
And it's like, if you're looking to grow your business, that is one of the best ways that you can go to grow
Yeah,
your business.
yeah,
It's one of the best ways for you to meet other people. It's one of the best ways for you to spend maybe some time away from your business, which is just as
yeah,
important as
yeah.
actually spent thinking you've got to spend all the hours behind a laptop or on a phone or on
Mm.
email or something. Actually, a couple of hours can make all the difference to how you feel as a person, which is then going to motivate you to come back to your business and work, harder, differently, better,
Yeah.
more efficiently. You're going to learn so many more things from each other. So, lots of networking events, they have expert speakers, they're talking about things that are relevant that you could potentially implement into your business. So you're going to learn so much more from actually having those conversations with people and being,
Yeah.
like you say, in a group where there is similar people to you that have got the same values, the same, needs and wants and desires, dreams, whatever words you want to use for it, really.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just people that are similar to you, similar position, that are all there to help and support is what I love about networking.
Yeah. So why do you think that people just don't come to these things? or don't get it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. There's lots of reasons. I think one is time. So
Yeah,
lots of
yeah.
people, we do lead busy lives these days. So, if you've got children at home, maybe you are going to and from the school run, maybe, and you've maybe got other responsibilities. So you think, oh, I've not got time to attend that event or something like
Mm,
that. Some people think, well, I've already got loads of clients. I'm already busy with work. And maybe I don't want any more clients right now.
yeah. But the
What I'd
worst
say
thing with
to
that is when you get somebody who is too busy right now, what happens when that business dries up? If you
ex
haven't, are you out meeting new
exactly,
people? What's going to
yeah,
happen? That's the worst
it's
thing. And I
thinking.
know so many people do it, don't they?
Yeah, they think, oh, I'm too busy. People say it to me all the time. I'm too busy to attend today, Janine, or whatever. It's like, well, what about in 3 months' time? What about if that client leaves you? What
Mm,
about, there might be someone else there who is doing something similar to you, and because they're showing up consistently, they're the ones that are going to get that business because people have
yeah,
gotten to know, like, and trust them.
yeah,
So, if you've not got time, I would try, just like with all your business, you should be thinking about, okay, so let's plan my month. What work have I got on? What do I need
yeah,
to do? What actions do I want to take? What do I want to achieve in my business this month? Networking and maybe finding a new group, or maybe making sure that if you're part of a group already, that you are consistently showing up in that
yeah,
group should be as much of a priority as you doing your social
yeah,
media, as you doing your talking to people, your one-to-ones of people, whatever it might be. For that very reason that you said, you need to have that pipeline of people so that when you need clients, when you need new customers, you've
mm,
got them there waiting
yeah,
from you.
absolutely.
Another reason I think is lack of confidence. I know what it's like. I'm not necessarily an extrovert person.
Mm,
People think I am because I host events and I do lives and all that sort of stuff. People
just
think,
like
oh gosh,
me.
yeah. um, but I still hate the fact of walking into a room or joining that, pressing join on that Zoom where I perhaps don't know anybody and think, oh gosh, I don't know, what I'm going to find in here. Um, standing up and doing your intro pitch. People hate
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, starting those conversations, people don't know what to say. So I think just generally, just a lack of confidence sometimes can really put people off.
Mm,
And what I'd say to people of those is, just take one thing at a time. So if you are a bit nervous about going to an in-person event, maybe choose one that's maybe really informal, maybe in a coffee shop, and it's not a networking event, it's a chat, it's a
yeah,
conversation over coffee. If you're doing it online, choose a small group to begin with. Don't try and go to a group that's got 30, 40, 50, 60 people in, because
yeah,
yes, that imposter syndrome, that lack of confidence is going to come in. So really make sure that you're choosing ones that are right for where you are right now in your business. Get that confidence, practice talking about what your business is and how you help people.
yeah,
Don't see that intro pitch as an intro pitch. See it as an introduction to your business and to start the conversation.
yeah. It's not a
It's not
sales pitch.
selling.
No.
It's not a sales pitch. I don't even like, I put the word pitch in on purpose because I don't like the word pitch. I
Yeah.
always say to people, look at it as you're just introducing yourself, a bit like, I don't know, blind date back in the day, what's your name
Mm,
and where do you come from? So, what's your name? Where do you come from? What's your business? How you help people? That's all you
yeah,
need to do. You don't need to make it long-winded. 15, 20 seconds is more than enough
yeah, absolutely.
from there. And then I think lastly, one of the biggest things that people worry about networking or stops them is they're not sure if networking is even right for their type of business.
Mm, yeah,
There's a bit
yeah,
of a there's a bit of a thing around networking that it's all about, men or people in suits making it all stuffy, and you got to sell, you got to refer to people. It's all about professional businesses, and that imposter syndrome can come in about,
yeah.
why would they listen to me? Why would they talk to me? I'm not sure that I'm going to get anything from that group.
Mm,
But as we've spoken about before, it's not necessarily about who is in that group, it's about who they know. And
yeah,
you never know what they need and what they want unless you have a conversation with them. they might be the best person in the world to be your next customer, but you don't know that
Yeah.
if you don't have that conversation.
Yeah. And the one thing that I found with networking, it wasn't all about me selling my stuff. It was about the other people there that can help me with other things that I would
Mm,
never ever think about. So
yeah.
I've been business networking since 2012, so a long time. And the amount of help and support that I've got from people that I now like, know, and trust after, meeting these people, week in, week out, month in, month out for a while. I've had builders, I've had my mortgage through them. I've got into places that I never thought I would ever get into. They've given me different ideas. They've been there when I've needed some help and support with my website or with my plumbing or whatever.
Yeah.
You meet all these people that can help you in so many different ways, and it's that community, I think, that is important. You
Yeah.
don't go there just to sell your stuff. You go there to be part of this bigger thing. And yeah, and do you think there's any misconceptions around networking? Is there anything that people think that it is that it isn't?
I think it does depend on where you look for networking, what type of groups you're looking at. I think the misconception, as I say, is that it's all about the more professional services. It's all about you need to go in there and refer and recommend people all the time, that you need to be a particular type of business to go networking.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about, hosting the women in business ones, is that in my groups I've got a variety of different people. I've got professional services, I've got accountants, I've got creative people, I've got people from network marketing, I've got people that are doing all sorts of, health and wellness and stuff. So, but the biggest thing is that, as you say, it's about having that community. It's about having a group of people that you can maybe message or call or, share if you're having a bad day, because they might then have some tips or hints or give you a bit of a pick me up. But also having a group of people that when you've had a really great success, maybe you've smashed your sales targets, maybe you've got that new client that you've really wanted, having a group of people that you can message and go, guess what, and being your biggest cheerleaders is a massive confidence boost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is where I think the misconception of networking is that it is, you have to refer, you have to sell.
Yeah.
But actually networking is the opposite to that in my
Yeah,
view.
I think there are certain business networking companies that are like that. And if that's
Mhm.
not your thing, then that's fine. If that is your thing and you fit with that style of networking,
Yep,
then
and
that's
and it
great.
works for different. Some people love it.
Yeah,
Some people love that sort of
absolutely.
style.
Yeah. From a network marketing point of view, and I know I've had this personally in the past, I've been to certain networking meetings and been told I haven't got a proper business because I'm in network marketing.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
everyone's business is personal to them.
Yeah.
And as being whether or not you're in network marketing, you are a web developer, you're a mortgage advisor, you are in business to make money or to help serve other people. And if you're super passionate about it, it doesn't matter what business you're in. If you are taking it seriously, if you're creating those plans, if you're creating those goals, if you're going out there connecting with people, networking with people, growing your audience the right way, doesn't matter what business you're in business.
No. And I think if you're in a group of people who see your business as not valuable, you're in the wrong place. Go find another one.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to give them my business anyway if they were that
No,
sort of person.
absolutely not.
I've been at, I think I was at a networking event once when I first started out in business back in, it must have been like 2018 at some point. And it was quite a big group. And this guy came up to me. We'd done our introductions really, really quickly. So literally it was my name and my company name. And that was all that I'd given at this introduction. And he came up to me when at the end when we were just doing some general networking and sort of thrust his business card into my hand and said, here we go. You could do, if you ever want LinkedIn training or support, I'm your person. And then just walked off. That was his introduction to me. And I was thinking, You don't know if I'm already a whiz at LinkedIn. I might be amazing at LinkedIn, so I definitely wouldn't need your training. You don't know if LinkedIn is where I'm going to find my ideal customer, so why would I want to use you? And you've spent no time asking me about my business in any way to build that business relationship. So I'm sorry, but there's no way on earth. You may be the best LinkedIn trainer there is, but I'm not going to come to you.
No,
And I
no.
think that almost sealed it for me about how networking shouldn't be done.
Yeah, I had a
Um,
similar experience. I was at one of these networking meetings. So I did 4N for quite some time, 4 or 5 years I was with
yeah,
them. I loved it. And that was quite formal. It was quite formal.
yeah.
And at
Had a
the
good
end, you
had a
have,
good structure to it, didn't it, for
yeah,
when?
good structure. So it had, at the end, you chose people to have a 10-minute one-to-one with. And I remember sitting with this lady, and it was one of my first meetings that I'd gone there. And this lady, she came and sat down with me at this 10 minutes, and she just sold at my face. And it was just 10 minutes of a massive sales pitch where I couldn't get a word in edgeways. And I sat there basically bowled over and stunned by the fact that she wanted to sell me her, what was it? It was some sort of like mindset coaching. And she was telling me what problems I had, and I hadn't even opened my mouth. So
You
what
must
the
have it
heck?
written on your face. You must just telepathically, can't say that word.
I was
Let you
amazed.
know.
Yeah, so
Oh
he
God,
didn't get my business, and yeah,
no,
anyway, but that is a really bad example of how not to do networking.
it is. It is. Yes.
Yeah, it's terrible. So we've done how not to do. What should people do to get success out of networking?
There's a few things really. First, we've spoken about it a couple of times, is don't attend events, whether or not they're online or in person, or you're having one-to-ones with people with a view to selling.
Yeah, yeah,
That should be the last thing that you think about. That's why I've put it first,
yeah.
because people always think that's the first thing that they need to do. But actually, don't look at it as selling. The next thing I would say is look at it as having a conversation. Look at networking in groups or one-to-one networking, whichever type of networking you do, as having a conversation, finding out more about each other. It's a two-way conversation. It's not a one-way sales pitch. Um, Ask lots of questions to the other person, find out more about them, find out, how they work, how you might be able to help them as well.
Mm,
Um, if you are attending an in-person event, I would say maybe, and you're really nervous about walking into a new one, maybe take a buddy with you. See if there's
yeah,
somebody else that you know that you think, oh, come along to this networking meeting with me, and therefore you're not feeling as nervous walking in.
yeah.
Just a caveat to that, don't then spend all your networking event chatting to your friend, because that becomes then a social event, not a business networking event. But if you
Mm,
are really nervous, taking a friend with you can just make that walking into that room feel less scary to you.
yeah,
And what I would say to people that are really nervous is maybe just challenge yourself to just talk to one person that you don't know.
yeah.
Don't think that you've got to go around that room talking to everybody in that group. Just sort of say, okay, today I'm just going to talk to one person that I don't know, have a conversation with them,
Mm,
get your confidence up that way, and then slowly but surely your nerves will go. And before you know it, you're probably talking to more and more people. But just
yeah,
don't put too much pressure on yourself if you are nervous. Take it one step at a time.
yeah,
The next tip I would say is don't see networking as just what happens in the room or online if it's an online meeting.
yeah,
Like, like most things in business, you have to follow up. So if you have met someone new at networking, I always advise that you do send them a message, say hi, say how, if it's genuine, how lovely it was to meet with them and to
yeah.
get chatting to them. Or if you hadn't had a chance to talk to them, but you think actually that's the person that I'd really like to get to know better, say that to them, whether or not it's on
Mm,
an email or a social media message. We didn't get a chance to talk at this meeting. I'd love to maybe have a chat with you and find out more about your business. I'm all about, connecting people and building relationships. So make sure you follow up with people after that meeting. Arrange those one-to-one calls or Zooms or coffees and really get to know them better. And then the last tip I would say is, like anything in business, is be consistent.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if you are going to start attending a couple of networking groups, and I would probably say it's probably best for people to attend 2 or 3 different groups if they can, because it's going to help them in different ways. Make sure you show up consistently to that group.
yeah.
Lots of people, I think, well, they attend a networking event and think, well, actually, I didn't get any sales out of that, or I've got no connections out of that, so I'm not going to
Yeah,
go back to that one again. But
yeah,
people aren't going to know you after one meeting. That you need to
no,
be consistent. You need to be there every meeting for 6, 12 months sometimes
yeah. It's a long
for people
game.
to. It is a long game. Be patient. That's that I would say, is my last tip is, be consistent and be patient with it,
Yeah,
and just see it as a way of conversations, relationships, audience growth, and confidence
yeah,
boosting to you, really.
yeah, definitely. And I would say, once you're in these networking groups and you've been there a while, get more involved, because the more you
Hmm.
can put yourself at the front of everybody's mind in those meetings, the more
Yep.
likely you are to get results. So be a guest speaker if you're brave enough. Go and help on like the front desk, welcoming people in, and or start to maybe get involved with the running of the meeting in some way, shape, or
Hmm.
form, because it puts you as that authority in the
Go to
meeting then a little
go
bit
to
more.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that go-to person. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
now we've encouraged everybody to go and at least try networking ones. Where did he find these things?
Well, there are loads of places now. So obviously lots of memberships like yours have, quite often have networking as part of
Yeah,
that. I would
yeah,
encourage people, if you are in a membership of some description and they do have networking events there, make sure you turn up to those,
yeah,
because you're not only going to learn from the host of the meeting, you can learn from each other, you're going to grow your community that way. Also things, obviously you've got your big things like Eventbrite and places like that. So, you know, lots of networking meetings put their events on there, so you can find them local to you as
yeah,
well. Um, and you can find some different ones as well. So also if you go onto Facebook, for instance, and just put in networking events in the search term, quite often you'll find a whole raft of networking events that you may never have heard of, and the same for on Eventbrite as well, and places like that. So try different ones.
mm,
So just do a search in Eventbrite or Facebook for networking meetings and see
yeah,
what comes up. You're going to find lots of different ones there. Also ask your business friends for ideas and referrals of networking meetings that
yeah,
they've attended that they've enjoyed. If they're very similar to you and they've enjoyed it, then hopefully there's a good chance that you might enjoy that as well. So ask for ideas from there. If you're on LinkedIn, ask in there, look in their groups to see what groups are coming up from there. But also in Facebook. So if you're in Facebook groups, I'm sure lots of your listeners are in lots of different Facebook groups, as we all
mm,
are now in
yeah,
business. See Facebook groups as not just a chance for you to go in, and when they do the follow Fridays, you put in your Instagram link and then you don't go in. Don't post and ghost. Don't just put your link and never to be seen in that group again until the
yeah,
next time they ask you for your link. See Facebook groups as a networking opportunity. That's what I always say to people. So get involved in the conversations that are coming into those Facebook groups. Offer your help, offer your advice, share your expertise, add that
mm,
value into that Facebook group. And then, as you said, be the person that everyone thinks of as the name to be seen as the go-to person, as the expert.
yeah,
If you're offering help and support and value to people in those groups, or you're commenting on people's posts and helping them, and celebrating in their achievements maybe, and giving them a confidence boost if they need it as well. See those groups as a great way to network.
yeah.
Don't just see it as a way for you to, as I say, just post your information and then just not to be seen again in
Oh,
them.
absolutely.
There's
And that's
loads of
what I do.
ways.
Yeah,
Yeah, loads of ways. And that's how we got to know each other, is that we've
yeah,
seen
it
each
is.
other in
Yeah,
lots of different Facebook groups, and we've learned about each other from being in those groups, because both of us have shared details about how we help and
yeah,
support and offered advice, and things like that. And that's how we got chatting. So
mm,
it works.
it does. It does. And of course, you run a networking meeting, don't you?
I do, yes.
So where can
So
people find you?
So the best place really for all the information is if you head to the website, actually. So
Yeah,
femalebusinessnetwork.co.uk is the website, and there's a link to my Facebook group in there. I've got a free Facebook group that people can come in and get to know people. I share hints and tips in there as well.
yeah.
And as you say, I host online and in-person events as well.
Brilliant. Well, I will make sure that a link is in the show notes underneath so people can grab it. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experiences and your advice on networking. And look forward to lots more conversations with you to be had.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.